This series of screencasts is going to review all of the different elements of poetry. I would think that you have learned these before 7th grade. How they're organized or how we choose to organize them might be a little bit different though. So I like to start out every year with this quote because whenever I think about teaching poetry and I remember myself learning about poetry, it was always something that was a little less than exciting, not because it wasn't interesting, but just because it was something that I didn't understand. And so I like this quote. It says, "A man doesn't go in search of a poem, the poem must come to him." It's very hard to just sit and write a poem on demand. You have to have a little bit of inspiration behind it, and there's a lot of meaning behind a poem, which makes them a little bit harder to understand. As a reader, we don't always know what the writer meant by them. So we're going to look through these elements of poetry and use them to help us analyze poetry, but keeping in mind that there isn't always going to be a clear-cut right answer as we study them. Alright, so first of all, we want to analyze or discuss what's the difference between prose and poetry. Prose is the way we write and speak every day. It's paragraphs, it's sentences, it's dialogue. It's the way that we put language together to communicate on a daily basis. Poetry, on the other hand, uses an expression, but it's a different genre of literature that expresses ideas, feelings, and tells a story in a very specific form. And that form uses different lines and stanzas. And what we'll notice in these lines is that sometimes there could be one word in the line, sometimes it could be a complete sentence, sometimes it's just a fragment or a phrase. And when we look at stanzas, we look at how those lines are grouped together. Sometimes there might not be any separate stanzas. It might just be one big long page of different lines of text. Other times we'll see that the lines are grouped together 3 or 4 at a time in some type of a pattern. And that's what we'll be looking at. So in your blend space, you'll see this video. I'm going to have you watch that next, and it's just going to give you a little bit more information on the difference between prose and poetry while looking at a poem.